I gotta admit, the end of the Fever Mercury game made me sit up for a second because it got a little spicy with Caitlin Clark having an interaction with DeWanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving her back to the bench.
Well, well. It seems Dana Bonner may have made the worst call of her season, choosing to pick a fight with Caitlin Clark during a Mercury versus Fever showdown. And, yeah, it exploded instantly. Cameras captured every moment, fans caught every second, and now the internet's running wild. There's no hiding this one. So, the real question is, who walked away looking worse in the middle of all this?
Now, we all know that the Indiana Fever is trying to make a push for the playoffs. We've been getting mixed signals coming out about Caitlin coming back, about Caitlin being, somewhat ready to go. Then we got Stephanie White saying it's day-to-day again, basically. Well, I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is not shying away from making headlines.
Let's get into it. Caitlin Clark, second year in the league, already the headline everyone can't stop talking about. Whether she's draining logo threes, dropping no-look dimes, or just walking across the floor breathing. The WNBA, whether they'll say it out loud or not, revolves around Caitlin Clark right now. And when a veteran like Dana Bonner tries to puff her chest and challenge that spotlight, you get instant regret. You get the kind of viral clip that sticks to her all season long because Caitlin Clark knows how to flip little battles into big storylines. And trust me, fans can't get enough.
At this point in time. But that interaction stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, obviously, is the history there, where DeWanna Bonner was on the Fever for a cup of coffee and then winds up on the Mercury. Before the season, Caitlin Clark said she wanted to win a ring for her, right? She said, I want to win for her. And Caitlin Clark went out of her way to also, shine light on how DeWanna Bonner had risen up to the top of, near the top of the all-time WNBA scoring ranks. And then,
The Fever were already carrying pressure heading into this Mercury clash. The season's been a full roller coaster, injuries stacking up, coaches playing the endless day-to-day guessing game, and fans feeling like they need a medical degree just to know who's even available. Caitlin Clark bouncing in and out of practice. Whispers about groin and ankle tweaks. The endless debate over whether she should be eased back or thrown straight into the fire. It's been exhausting. And then, right in the middle of it all, Dana Bonner decides it's the perfect moment to square up with Clark. The timing couldn't have been worse. Bonner's no rookie. She's been around long enough to know exactly how narratives spin. But here's the reality. When you go at Caitlin Clark, you're not just going at another player. You're going at her fan base, the cameras, the reporters, the highlight machines that will clip, repost, and meme your worst second on repeat. And that's exactly what unfolded. Bonner thought she was proving toughness, showing the Mercury weren't about to get bullied. Instead, what fans saw was a veteran pushing too hard against the one player who already commands more attention than half the league combined.
John and DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner said
The exchange itself was almost comical in how quickly it blew up. Clark stood her ground, cool as ever, flashing the hand motion like, go yell somewhere else. Bonner puffed up, trying to play queen of the court. And the refs, they just stood there like statues, pretending not to see what every single person in the arena saw. Because when it's Caitlin Clark, the officiating somehow always finds a way to look clueless, ignoring headshots, swallowing the whistle on obverse fouls, or calling phantom travels. It's like refs forget how to referee. But hey, that silence just made Bonner look worse. And fans picked up on it instantly. The second the clip hit Twitter, yeah, we'll still call it Twitter, it exploded. Fever fans clowning how ridiculous it was. Clark defenders saying, yep, another vet trying to bully Caitlin. Even Mercury fans were scratching their heads wondering why Bonner lit the fuse at all. Because if the league's been paying attention, Angel Reese, Kennedy Carter, even Lexi Hull dragged into scraps, you'd think they'd stop testing her. But nope. Another welcome to the WNBA moment for Clark. Except here's the twist. She's not a rookie anymore. This isn't hazing. This is desperation. Because deep down, Phoenix knows their window's closing. Diana Taurasi isn't getting younger, and Bonner herself isn't the cornerstone of the future. The Fever, though, they've got Clark, Alia Boston, and a young core that, if handled right, could own the next decade. That's what terrifies the vets. That's why they lash out. And when Clark doesn't flinch, when she throws out the talk to the hand in front of a packed house, it's humiliating. It's instant regret, because the clip doesn't make Bonner look tough, it makes her look rattled. And here's the kicker, the Fever still lost. But by night's end, nobody cared about the score. Nobody cared that Phoenix had 5 players in double figures. The entire conversation was Clark versus Bonner. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in real time. You can beat her team on the scoreboard, but if she gives you that one viral moment, the win belongs to her. She dictates the narrative, and the league knows it.
Most clutchest player on the damn team. I'm not just saying that just to say it. Lexi Hall stand on business when it's time to...
Let's pause on Lexi Hall for a second, because if anyone deserves credit in this whole circus, it's her. She emptied the tank, playing 35 minutes, scoring 18 points, and still locking in on defense while everything around her was falling apart. Hull's the kind of player who doesn't always dominate the box score, but when the game tightens, she's there. And the irony? While Bonner was busy trying to rattle Caitlin Clark, it was Hull actually giving Phoenix problems. But, of course, that doesn't go viral. What does? Bonner looking rattled while Clark casually waves her off. Which brings me to Indiana's sideline. Stephanie White, what exactly are we doing here? You can't keep letting games slip like this when the opponent has 5 players in double figures. That's not one mismatch. That's not one streak shooter. That's your entire defensive setup folding like a flimsy lawn chair. Fans are exhausted hearing the same tired lines about being day-to-day and taking things one step at a time. Eventually, those excuses lose weight. And while White juggles rotations, injuries, and media heat, she's also watching her players spark petty sideline drama that hijacks the spotlight. The wild part, Clark didn't need 30 points to own the night. She just stood there, waved Bonner off, and let the cameras tell the story. That's power. That's influence. And that's why every veteran who tries to teach her a lesson ends up regretting it. You can foul her, shove her, jaw at her, but she's still the headline. And the WNBA can't bury that, no matter how badly some XX might wish they could. Fans summed it up perfectly online. Congrats, Dana. You just gave Clark another viral clip. And they are right, because whether Bonner accepts it or not, this is the fuel that keeps Fever Nation roaring. And honestly, it fuels Clark herself. She feeds on the pettiness, the doubters, the so-called welcome to the league moments. And the more it happens, the bigger her brand becomes. Meanwhile, veterans like Bonner just end up looking salty, as if they're gatekeeping a league desperate for fresh eyes and new fans. And speaking of fans, the crowd's reaction can't be ignored. The Fever faithful are louder, more unified, more fed up with the nonsense every game. They've watched Clark eat cheap shots all year. They've seen refs swallow whistles as she's shoved to the floor. And now, seeing a vet try to sun her, or should I say anti-her, was more proof this league doesn't know how to handle its rising star. So what do fans do? They flip it into fuel. They blow the clip up. They trend it online. Suddenly Bonner's tough guy act is a meme. That's instant regret in motion. And let's not pretend Clark misses that. She knows exactly how valuable these moments are. She's sharp. She gets that every time someone challenges her, it's an open chance to win without scoring a point. She knows the cameras never blink. She knows the fans are ready to jump, and she leans into it with just the right mix of sarcasm and confidence to make the other player look unhinged. That's a skill all its own. That's why she isn't just a scorer, not just a passer, but a cultural shift in motion. And Bonner, whether she realized it or not, just handed Clark another brick for that wall. The ripple effect of this Bonner-Clark clash is almost bigger than the game itself, because every headline isn't about the Mercury's playoff chase or the Fever's struggles. It's about Dana Bonner trying to intimidate Caitlin Clark and losing in the court of public opinion. That's the wild part. Bonner may believe she won that battle in the moment, but in the bigger story, she lost it. You don't win when a clip gets replayed 1,000,000 times with captions roasting you for looking pressed. You don't win when Clark brushes you off like background chatter. And you definitely don't win when fans are memeing you before the final buzzer even hits. And here's where it actually gets worse for Bonner. Caitlin Clark thrives on this kind of chaos. We've seen it over and over. Every time someone thinks they can buddy her up or send a message, she flips it into fuel. She answers with logo threes, no-look lasers across the court, or a stare so sharp it dazes them to try again. That's the edge Clark carries. She doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need to chest bump. She just makes you look foolish with one flick of the wrist or one sarcastic hand wave. That's way more powerful than tough talk. Meanwhile, the Fever are still wrestling with bigger problems. The defense stays shaky. Rotations feel like they are drawn from a hat, and injuries keep hovering like a storm cloud. Fans are drained by the secrecy, sick of the vague day-to-day updates, and furious watching their star take hits without whistles. Add DeWanna trying to big dog Clark into that pile, and you've got fans boiling over. Because it's not one fight, it's layers of disrespect stacked on top of mismanagement. But let's not pretend the Mercury are suddenly the league's gold standard either. Sure, they put 5 players in double figures. Sure, they're climbing the standings. But their strategy looked a lot like Hope Clark gets rattled. And if that's your master plan, good luck, because Clark doesn't rattle. She laughs. She understands how this league ticks. She knows the vets are salty about her spotlight. She knows the refs won't cut her any breaks. So instead of sulking, she shrugs it off and keeps delivering highlight reels for SportsCenter, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And while we're talking highlights, Lexi Hull deserves her flowers again. While DeWanna wasted energy jawing, Hull was stacking points, defending with grit, and proving she's still the most underrated piece of this roster. You can't chart clutch on a stat sheet, but if you've followed the Fever this season, you know Hull shows up when it matters. Meanwhile, DeWanna's big moment will live forever as the night Caitlin Clark waved her off like a fly buzzing at a picnic. That's not legacy. That's meme material. So yeah, instant regret. DeWanna might have thought she was making a statement, but the only thing people heard was Caitlin Clark owns the spotlight. And honestly, it says a lot about the league that this is what grabs headlines. Instead of celebrating ball movement or playoff pushes, everyone's glued to the question, who's trying to rattle Clark this week? But that's the WNBA reality. Clark is the main character whether the vets like it or not. And the harder they push back, the bigger she becomes. The lesson should be simple. Stop giving Clark free viral fuel. Every shove, every glare, every cheap shot just turns into another clip that cements her brand. And for DeWanna, that means nobody's talking about her 19 points. They are talking about her losing her cool in front of Caitlin Clark and looking like she regretted it on the spot. So, what do you think? Was this just a harmless dust-up? Or did DeWanna fumble the bag by picking a fight with Caitlin Clark? Drop your take in the comments below. And don't forget to smash like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next WNBA meltdown.